Mudita, Remarkable and Supernote. They are as much lifestyle companies as they are tech companies. So this company, Mudita, they've really got me thinking, and it says in their little leaflet that they shipped a Mudita Compact with that they're a minimalist technology company. And I thought this was really interesting. In the Reader app on the phone, they ship a bunch of meditation cards. And the phone will even, at the start of each meditation, it will play you a bong sound. Just 20 seconds to get ready for that meditation itself. And they also shipped me this, the Mudita Pause, which is a pack of meditation cards. And whilst I was editing my video on the Mudita, I won't be meditating right now, but I did try some of these cards and I just read them and thought through them. Take a deep breath in through your nose, it says. Can you recognize the smell? And I did, and I thought, oh, I can smell the wood in my office, and that's really pleasant. What a pleasant place to work. And then I cracked on. So it's a nice thought. And this combination that they're going for, combining technology with mindfulness, is really very welcome. And I was thinking about the parallel with a couple of other companies that I'm quite enthusiastic for, Remarkable and Supernote being the main ones, that are trying to do something different in tech. They're not competing to push the bleeding edge of what technology can do, but what they are trying to do is design technology which is good enough, which is useful enough, but fits in your life in an unobtrusive way. I've been for some time exploring e-ink devices and their role within digital minimalism in my life. And I think that there are two schools of thought here. One is that you buy a minimalist device which you can tailor, which you can modify to your own desire, or you buy something which is bespoke. And in this video, we're going to explore 3 of those companies which are going down that bespoke avenue. And one thing you feel when you buy a Supernote, for instance, is that you feel locked into a community where the developers are actually sharing their journey, listening to the feedback of the users and providing updates which they think are going to be really useful for them. The update recently that I'm really looking forward to is now in the great drawing app within the Supernote. You can pick your own canvas size up to A3 size, which is going to be really cool. And you can export that canvas as a PSD with all of its layers intact. And yeah, I'll be exploring that in a video coming to you soon. Hello, it's very good to see you. Good to see you here, mate. Have I used the Supernote stickers yet? No, I haven't. Or ink flow? No, so it'd be lovely to talk about that. Is that in a beta, Ed, or is that something I can actually get already? No, we're up to date and I haven't got them yet. It's in the beta now, I haven't used that yet. I did see them and I did think, would I use them? And I did think it's not a type of thing that I do. But then, one thing that was added recently to Remarkable, and they spent a lot of time bringing this, was like shape perfection. And then they've made a big deal about these shapes. And everyone's like, when are we going to get shape perfection on Supernote? And I actually think those things are a bit superfluous for me. And not for everybody, but for me. But what do you think, Ed? Tell me about them. Do you think it's looking good? Is something you would use? And Remarkable made quite a nice video about sketchnoting, like they just invented it. And it was like, well, okay, I can kind of see that, but you spend such a long time bringing quite a basic feature, the shape perfection, and then telling us that it's a good idea to put your notes into containers and things like that. And it was more than that, don't get me wrong, and spend a lot of time with your fonts and stuff like that. And actually, as an educator, okay, yeah, so that's cool. So you can actually make anything a sticker. Yeah, fine. So that could be useful there. Again, I know already that I probably just wouldn't use that. I just probably wouldn't find a use case for that. However, I'm sure there are many people out there that might. So you guys tell me if you would. And what stickers would you make, Ed? Would you make, I don't know, feedback stickers for people? What would you do there? But there's an interesting thing as an educator, and Ed, tell me if you know this and you get this as an educator as well. But one of Dunlowski's bits of evidence that he presents in his meta-study is that this group of people who asked to revise for a test by making mind maps, by making sort of visual maps, did worse than a group who were asked to revise by quizzing, self-quizzing. And the self-quizzing group far outdid the mind map group. And then they did the same thing again. So they did 2 groups, one who did mind maps to revise and another who did self-quizzing. And then they gave them a test, and the test was to mind map as much of this information as they could. And actually the group who had been doing self-quizzing did better than the group who did the mind maps. So mind maps actually aren't that great for memorization. A lot of people think that they are, and we have evidence, we have lots of evidence to say that actually that's not the case. And things like visual, auditory, kinesthetic learning, that's all gone out the window in education. And I think actually, okay, color, yeah, maybe color coding things, but I still think that actually, if you wanted to make a device that helped you sort of learn and retain things in your notes, one way to do that would be to allow it to understand what your notes were and allow it to kind of quiz you on those notes. If you could make a device that could sort of AI quiz you, like make up a set of questions to do that, then that would be really quite good. That would actually be a better way to memorize your notes. Alex says, I played with them a bit yesterday, most are gimmicky, but some shapes were quite useful, yeah. So I mean, if I was going to make a flowchart, I'll be entirely honest, what I would actually do would I'd draw my own flowchart and I'd just be happy with because, you know, being an architect, I'd be happy with my own, you know, I like my imperfections, I like my bits, I like sketching over. I don't feel the need for it to be like hold it down and have a perfect shape. I'm not that bothered really. Maybe if I was to make a flowchart that was going to go to somebody and I wanted it to look perfect, yeah, I could see how that could be useful, but you know, it's just not something I'm all that bothered by. That's my own 2 cents, but I'll look forward to that video tomorrow though, Ed. Collections, individual strokes, not images, and they're treated like any written text. So okay, so you can still go ahead and it's like a bit like a more permanent clipboard, which I can see that. An ink flow turns the Supernote into a Wacom tablet, so you can actually use that on the computer. Could be very useful. Makes it a more valuable thing, doesn't it? Because a Wacom tablet is still not cheap. So when you first buy a Remarkable, you're hit by this message that they've designed Remarkable to get out of your way. They've not designed the very highest performance device. They're not trying to keep up with the performance benchmarks and the feature set of other devices. They're trying to design a device which is going to enhance your life. And whilst technology is improving rapidly, like we've just about to take a delivery of a very tiny hard drive with 2 terabytes of storage on it. Cheers. And of course, I'm very interested in that as a tech reviewer. I'm very interested in seeing benchmarks of what the latest processors can do, how fast they're advancing. Cool, that's all very useful for humanity, but the fundamental experience of being a human hasn't changed much, and it hasn't been changed yet by this technology revolution. Now, Ed, don't worry, I'm all about being derailed on these members one. That's what you're here for. So agree that mind maps are good for brainstorming and non-linear thinking, but not memorization. I also agree on learning styles. We're all multimodal and contextual. Absolutely, my man. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's a good point. I think, yeah, for getting your ideas down. And one of the reasons I like the Remarkable, and I have been doing some work on the Remarkable, is actually I do think it's quite a nice platform for outlining things and then using the text recognition and then turning it into the typing thing and everything. I actually quite like it as a space for thought. And I think that they're right about that. And we'll talk about Remarkable later in this stream when we talk about Remarkable methods, which I think they're doing some nice stuff with. Was that the title of that page on the Remarkable there, Alex? Yeah, I like that title as well, Alex, yeah. And you know, like, it's been so nice reading a bit of Dante and being like, okay, it took me a moment to get really into Il Convito, but now that I am into it, it's like, yeah, it's just inspiration central reading that guy. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, that's still totally true now. Oh yeah, that's still an absolute thing. It's still an absolutely massive thing. So I'm really going back to, I think, yeah, with this sort of being a bit ill over the last few weeks and not being able to do these things that I love, like talking with you guys here, I've gone back to my sort of classics really. Been really doing that. So yeah, definitely read Il Convito. Yeah, it's great. It's a good time. Took a while to get into it, so, but now that I am into it, it's really, really good. So when you use the Mudita and you start to think of holding a device and using a device and carrying a device, which is allowing you to enjoy more of those human experiences and live a happier and more fulfilled life, there's a real relief to that. And it's one of the great things about having this YouTube channel, this connected community that shares their experience and discusses with me and with each other their use of these devices. And Supernote, a lovely email from Supernote just recently featuring a channel called Vlad Campos. And they had an email with a little blog, him talking through his timeline system. And yeah, check out his YouTube channel. It's just called that, Vlad Campos, where he shows not just this really desirable device and all its shiny glory, but actually how he uses that to improve his life day to day. And Remarkable, they're really trying to be more than a technology company. They're trying to be part of your professional life and give you advice and teach you skills. And I found it really interesting, the things that are reaching me through the Connect subscription. So let's have a look at that. I want to talk about Remarkable methods now. Have you seen this? I've been really impressed with Remarkable, actually, with the stuff that's been landing in my inbox. You know, like you sign up for Remarkable and talk about the tablet being what it is. But actually what's been really impressing me recently is not so much the tablet, but the things that have come into the inbox. And where I want to go with this, I want to show you, I've downloaded some of the things from Remarkable Methods, and it's quite nice here. They emailed me this thing, this little workbook for finding focus. This wasn't Remarkable Methods, but before that. And actually there's some interesting things in here, you know, little workbooks, things to commit to. You see, I haven't done much of it, but it's nice. I appreciate it. I also appreciate this. This is a value proposition. This is thinking of a product. You know, again, I don't intend to work for it, but certainly this is a valid set of thinking tools that they have provided for their Connect subscribers. Now, I'm a Connect subscriber by the grandfather method, so I get it because I was in Remarkable before they started charging for this. But I also don't think that it's majorly expensive. It's like still like $2.50 a month to Connect. So tell me your opinion on Connect as well. Be interested to know that. But if they're going to also give you loads of different like documents that are quite useful, then okay, this is quite good. I don't really know who Strategizer are, but they've clearly collaborated on some documents with that. They've also given you a bullet journal Remarkable thing, and Remarkable have clearly been working with bullet journal guys on this, which is quite cool. Yeah, Ryder Carroll's, it's a nice thing that he's done. He's certainly interested. He's got this nice way of analyzing sort of mindful tech. Yeah, and these are nicely hyperlinked documents there. And sure, you know, they're behind a paywall, but it's what it is, isn't it? You got to pay for things like this, and that's quite nice, right? I don't dislike this at all. And there's a calendar which is all hyperlinked as well. I don't know where that's gone. I thought I downloaded that. Meeting index. Yeah, there is calendar, and that's all right. That's the sort of front cover's changed, isn't it? And this is all hyperlinked to dailies. So it's go back to March. It's there. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's not something that I need, and I want to make my own templates whenever I do this. But I'm not certainly not going to make my own template for the entire year. And that's there. That's nice. That's there. I'm going to bring up the website and have a little look around. Be interested to know your opinions on these as well. Some really good things. I'm going to go all, have a little look through it. Yeah, value proposition canvas. I guess it's just a one pager, is it? Quadrant method, you know, meeting minutes. There'll probably be a Cornell somewhere. Project brief, year reviews, feedback model. There's a basic Kanban board. But what I was thinking about when I was looking through these, and I do appreciate it. I think it's really cool that they've found this and popped this in our inbox. I think it's a really good thing as well. What I was thinking is, can they not give this just to you as paper, but make this a bit smarter as well? And wouldn't this make more sense if these were things that were built into the actual apps as well, or instead of doing it like this? Now, for instance, when it came to the Kanban board, you know, the nice thing of a Kanban board, here it is that you can move bits around nice and easily like little cards, whereas this you'd be selecting that bit of text and moving it across each page, rather than it being, you know, here you can see someone's ticking it off. Why not have it as being a, like on the Supernote, have it as being an actual to-do list item, nicely, neatly organized within the actual software itself. I'm really pleased that they've actually done that and brought that and given us those extra things if we're already Connect subscribers, of course. You know, it's a good thing. Whilst I'm pleased that it's all there, couldn't it have been actually just a meeting area in here? Now, I think that's where they ought to do. And one thing I talked about in the week on Thursday was what would make other brands like the top of the pile. And I think some of these ideas might actually bring Remarkable back to the top of the pile for them, and actually maybe integrating some of those methods and really maybe picking the very best ones or the most popular ones. Maybe they can see what people are downloading and actually integrate them into their software. And I think one thing, right, let's think about the sort of pressure from Reddit and they engaged in it. Is it not working for me? Oh, there we go. So I've got a straight line feature. They actually brought out shape perfection quite quickly, and it's been quite popular, and yet they seem to be so sluggish at adding so many other basic things. And what I was thinking was, well, the reason why I've been pretty adamant that the Supernote is the best e-ink tablet right now is that it's such a nice place to write on. And I'm feeling this with my Remarkable at the minute, that when I think to myself, oh, I just want to type a bit out, and this is what I've been doing within my aptly named screen there, this is the place that I've been thinking, this is where I want to do some typing. And actually more and more, and maybe I might have been a bit harsh on the Boox one, I don't know, maybe I was a bit optimistic about the Boox thing. Actually, if the Supernote is the best as a hardware feel for writing, like with the pen, the best place that I probably have for typing is this e-ink typewriter that they've made. Which is just really, really nice. And you could carry this around, you could flick it out, you've got that pen input, you can do the handwriting recognition as your first sort of story beats, and then type away. Loads of good things to love, and they've got a few things right. Like for instance, they've got the shortcuts of like select to left and right. They've got undo. Don't know if they've got redo. Yeah, they've got undo and redo, like exactly where you'd expect it to be. Loads of good things. They've got just, you know, quick formatting options and stuff like that, which is good. This is a nice place to type. There's a backlit keyboard here. It's a pleasant feel. All of these things, but if you're a very excellent typist, I think maybe actually I would recommend this as being a great place to type. However, could they actually have this be a great place to go from draft to final thing? And if Remarkable want to be back to that top of the pile, if they want to be the very, very best, then why not give us something where you could actually write a book from start to finish? Now, I'm just compiling some notes which are going to be used to add to a piece of work that I've been doing, which is already quite a long piece of writing that already exists in Google Docs. There is no way that I could get from first scribbles to final piece of writing on the Remarkable. And I'd like to be able to do that. I'd like to be able to do that on e-ink. And I'd like to be able to do that on this Remarkable keyboard. I mean, I'm 5 pages into this document and it's already messy. It's already not a tidy place, and it already is difficult for me to follow what I'm doing. And I just was playing about, should I be using Scrivener to do this long piece of writing? And what Scrivener has is it has, like, you can write in synopses of your sort of blocks of text, really. And then you can move those blocks of text around on like a corkboard. Now, Scrivener is currently Mac or Windows or iOS, so it's not even an Android program, right? So I can't use that on Boox tablets or anything. But couldn't Remarkable give us something? Couldn't they take their time and give us something where we can actually develop pieces of writing to completion on here? You know, maybe they don't need all the different fonts or like powerful like word processor tools like Equation Editor, although I know people would like that type of thing. But maybe could they give us some like writing tools, some like things for people to write creative writing, works of fiction and things like that. And I will say as well, one thing, when I've been typing away on this, which has been quite frustrating, there's every now and then, there's a moment when it lags and you have to wait for it to update a word that you know you've typed. I don't seem to be able to get it to do that just there, but there's a time when you're like, okay, why did that just lag there? What happened? So every now and then there's a time when the screen isn't quick. So one thing I think that Remarkable should do is give me literally exactly the same as this, same size, everything, but give me the latest black and white ink screen and make it as quick as a flash with the new controller and everything like that. Make it as quick as it can possibly be. Make it like kind of Boox or Bigme or the DASM monitor kind of level of screen refresh, because they do look really, really good. I think get rid of the active stylus, although I don't think they will, but I think what Remarkable could probably do really well on, and for people who are just put off by the flashing of the screen, they would do well just to give us black and white, same form factor, like put it out as quickly as they can so it slots into the type photos that people have already got. They would get people just buying them in droves, and they would be really, really good. I think that's what I would do next if I were them. Good questions. Yeah, fan of the whole package. Yeah, me too. They make wanting to be involved with the company very easy. Methods is a nice addition too, yeah. I didn't like the Remarkable Paper Pro, I think they got it wrong. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying really. It's like, I don't dislike the Remarkable Paper Pro, but I just kind of think, why haven't they got a Remarkable Paper 3 or something like that, which is just the same but black and white? I think that probably sales haven't been as good as they was expecting either. Upload methods too, got it in my inbox above, does sound interesting. Yeah, and I think even if it's like sometimes they present something as like, oh yeah, there's something you can learn from those methods. And as I say, I'm not planning on using them as workbooks, but I am planning on sort of paying attention to those Remarkable methods and integrating them generally within my sort of workflow and my thinking. And no, it's not one block of type per page. No, it's you've got infinite scroll basically. You can scroll down and make it, and you can handwrite on it as well, and you can scroll down and continue. So that's quite nice about it really, is that you can have infinitely long bits of text. And actually, I do think to myself sometimes, I think, okay, what I can do is I can write a sort of chapter, and then I can go into my page views a bit like a corkboard, and I can move it around. But I'd like to be able to, you can imagine if this was Scrivener, what I'd be able to do now would I'd be able to type a very brief like synopsis of what's going on each of these pages, and I could then move the synopsis around, and knowing that I was also moving the actual block of text as well, the actual piece of writing as well. And I could move them around here, but it's hard for me to see exactly what is on each page. I get a list, so you can imagine you could have a brief synopsis of what's going on here, or like a title of, rather than being page 4, let me call that chapter 2, wherein she discovers a rabbit in her back garden or something like that. That's not what my book's about, but you could imagine it would be quite useful, couldn't you? Wanted to do it, scribble along, put in a piece of text, scribble along, put some more. Yeah, so you can do that now. Yeah, absolutely. Each time I start typing a page, be a different text block. I'm not sure, that's a good question. I think that, so if I go back to my thing that I was just working on, it's in here, isn't it? So if I now scribble, I should be able to then start typing here. I can never like talk and write at the same time. I promise I can actually write the word type normally. So now, if I go type, I should be able to just start here. And let's put the thing up so it knows that I'm wanting to type now. Or what if I go into this mode? Oh yeah, see, it's got me. So now I'm in my review mode. I've hit this little review key here. I can now type more. Yeah, so I've got that all in a row. I can click here. And when I move that down, it moves the scribbles down as well. Did you see that was a point where it took a moment to catch up with me? So, those things are quite good. And yeah, I think the Remarkable 3 black and white would just kill it straight away. Be really quite good. And then I would think I would, if they put out Remarkable 3 black and white just like that, especially if they took their time and actually gave us some significant software updates in terms of the power of the thing, then I think that would be really, I'd be reevaluating whether this thing was really top of the tree anymore. Interesting. Tell on the same page again. Really nice combat. It does make for a really nice combat experience. Except for me, what it is, Alex, is what I find I can't, if I write by hand in between type, I can't ask it to recognize this handwritten stuff and then add to my typed text. And that should be really for me what I would prefer. See, it's not got that very well now. You see, it's jumbled those just by deleting those typed texts. I don't think that's ideal. And if I want to, if I've got between 2 paragraphs and then I want to write, a new line, I should be able to allow it to recognize that and just insert a new line like that. And a few good kind of edit with the pen things would be a bit better as well. So I think they can learn from maybe Scrivener and think about people who want to write with this thing, people who like, obviously the three of us here, we're obviously enjoying writing, typing away on it. Can it be powerful enough to take it from idea to manuscript? That would be an interesting thing, I think. And I guess this is why Remarkable has been likened to Apple, and Mudita can be likened to Apple in that same way. Not only producing really desirable pieces of technology, but really giving you this prescribed workflow, this you will be better off doing it our way. Apple were really the first major company to sell tech as a lifestyle product over and above just pure functionality. This idea that tech should integrate seamlessly into your life. And right now we have reached enough computing power. Like, it is fine. Sure, computers are going to continue to enhance, they're going to continue to improve, and we're going to be able to do more and more and more. But as a human being, do we really need to be able to process more? The devices are going to change the shape and the way they fit into our lives. But we do need companies like this to actually think about the role of, for example, a smartphone in your life. I do certainly think, though, that there are two sort of categories of people here. Ones who will prefer that prescribed workflow, and ones who will prefer to blaze their own trail and be able to shape their own experience with their device. Both approaches have their place, and that's why I still think this Supernote is a really special device. Not just incredibly repairable, but having that prescribed workflow, that bespoke feeling, but also the ability to shape it and make it your own. Talk about Supernote DIY for a little bit. Now, one thing that is a differentiator of Supernote is that they're the one brand that is really talking a lot about the no planned obsolescence. And one thing you can replace is you can replace this back panel here if you've opened it up and you've broken one of the clips. And I think that they will be good sellers on their on their websites, will be back panels. And this is the Supernote US store, the DIY thing here. Individuality is the raw power of creativity. Okay, cool. That's a statement and a half. And you can buy batteries now. How much are the batteries? 404. Is that because they're only available in the US? I don't know. You can buy a motherboard, the X2 motherboard. And wouldn't it be, at some point, I'm sure there'll be an X3 motherboard in here one day. That's an interesting thing. You can buy enclosures, the back covers, just said. You'll definitely be needing those. Some people will be needing those. And you can buy the Feel Right film, which I'm kind of thinking I'll buy some Feel Right film and put it on another tablet, another brand of tablet. Which one do you think I should try? What do you think will most suit some Feel Right film? Maybe the Viwoods would most suit the Feel Right. I'm not sure. What do you tell me what you think about that? I need to buy one of these. I need to buy a Lamy Vista refill. And my wife says, yeah, you guys can all laugh about this on a on a live stream. Sorry, Steph. But my wife did say, yeah, this would make sense for you to laugh about this on a live stream with your viewers. Because she, of course, is the proud owner of the Supernote Crystal A6X2 Crystal, and so I gave her the ceramic Lamy to go with it, and she dropped it on its head, and it is now a pen no longer. And I think this is the one thing about these guys. So is if it lands directly on the nib, yeah, that's what happened. It sort of fell off a table and it just landed nib down, and yeah, it just broke. So I need to buy one of the Lamy Vista refills, which makes perfect sense. It's not too bad, is it? $50 US. And the actual pen itself is $80 US, isn't it? So it's not cheap, is it? How much is the module for this? A little bit less. For the heart metal too, and the simple refill, $45 US still. Yeah, it's not cheap, is it? But when I went to the EU store, they don't have the Lamy Crystal one, so a bit disappointing. This is all we've got in the Supernote Europe store on the DIY front, and in fact the DIY kit is the one without the guides as well. So I'm kind of, the DIY thing hasn't quite landed in Europe yet. We don't have quite the level of options that you guys do in the States yet. And I think I was like, don't worry, Steph, I'll replace that, but that's 50 quid to replace the innards of that. Not cheap at all. And I will obviously do that, but I'll have to import that there. Yeah, I know. Let's not make her feel too bad about it, eh? But yeah, I think you're right, because Boox Tabletop Super Pro would be a good one for the Feel Right film. Alex says, yeah, everything back to the subject of type folio. Yeah, it's a good thing though, type folio, isn't it? I'm looking forward to seeing what Supernote will do with the pogo pins as well. Yeah, and add shipping and taxes. Yeah, I might be at the point where I might just have to order a new crystal lamy for her. The nice thing is about the lamy pens though is actually that you can buy just a lamy insert of any sort. You could buy some ink and put it in that. So it's not a wasted, you know, one lamy fits another, which is quite nice. I do think it's quite cool what they've got going on here, and they're showcasing all the different things that people are doing with them. Any favorites that you guys have seen somebody's done? I thought this one was really cool. This actual pencil that's been hollowed out and does actually contain full-on Supernote ceramic insert inside the pen. So I'm not going to show too much of it just in case copyright reasons, but you know, that looks quite cool. Any sort of favorites that you've seen people do? I've got the composition book for My Remarkable, but that's quite a nice one that this person's made here with the DIY. So they've actually taken apart another case, look, to do that. Oh, this is even before they released the actual DIY thing. I hope they sent him some new magnets, or whoever this is, some new magnets, because that's quite cool. But I mean, yeah, I've always kind of liked this as somebody made a Sharpie. I've always kind of liked this DIY modding of pens and things like that. It's really quite a cool thing that Supernote are doing and have done for some time. Yeah, I think that the DIY thing is something that can really keep them different. I don't know whether that on its own keeps them ahead of the pack in terms of keeping them in #1 spot. I think that they're really the whole package, and this ease of use for the linking and everything like that, I think that's what really keeps them at #1. And I do think, although the pens themselves are great, I do think that the combination of screen feel and the note-taking tools really is keeping Supernote to be the kind of #1. It's important that they've made it repairable, that people can do these amazing things with their Supernotes. So as I've said, since my very first experience with Supernote, they strike this incredible balance between bespoke and versatile. But they also get that balance right between technological advancement and human needs. Interesting, I'd love to hear your thoughts on all that discussion.